Powder highlighters are back. There are so many new powder highlighters that have hit the market in the past month. In today's video, I'm going to be trying on 4 different formulas. I will also be doing a ranking at the end of the video so you can figure out, okay, do I need to be spending $90 on a highlighter, or is that $30 to $40 price range a-okay? If you're interested in seeing me try on all of these launches in multiple shades, then go ahead and keep on watching. And if you are not subscribed, would absolutely love if you consider subscribing. I am a very small channel, so every subscription counts, and also every Instagram follower makes a really big difference. Admittedly, I already filmed this video last weekend, but at the time I only had 2 of the new highlighters, and since then more have rolled out and I have picked them up. So I'm completely redoing this video because I really wanted to make this more of a highlighter showdown. Now, unfortunately, one of the highlighters that I did pick up from Polite Society did arrive completely shattered, and that is on the fault of Ulta, not the brand. They launched this exclusively for Ulta Diamond members like last Sunday. And so unfortunately I don't have that one today. They are shipping me a replacement, but we will have to go without it. But that being said, we still have 4 great highlighters, or are they great? We have 4 different highlight formulas to review today. NARS released 5 shades of their luminizing light reflecting highlighters. This here is the shade Eros. I went ahead and I picked up 3 different shades. So we have Eros, Electra, and Heavenly. The claims of these are the usual highlighter claims, that they will give you a ethereal glow. These ones specifically claim that they will last 10 hours. Here we have the shade Electra, Heavenly, and Eros. These are extremely smooth. Even though there's a lot of shimmer, there's absolutely no grit in the product. There are no actual glitter particles. They are just a smooth, highly reflective formula. One of the differences between this formula and, say, the Prada one that we're going to discuss in a little bit is these ones look like highlighters. These remind me of the highlighters that we were wearing when we were glowing to the gods back in the early 2010s, whereas the Prada one, which you will see in a little bit, is going to be more natural. These are going to be more noticeable. That doesn't bother me, but I did want to bring that up because some people do not like that highlighter look. But let's go ahead and try these on the face so you can see how they apply and what they look like. I'm going to apply this formula with 2 different brushes so you can see what it looks like when it's a little bit more subtle and then when it's applied with a little bit more of a denser brush. So first we're going to go in with this very classic Morphe brush. This is the Morphe 510. I don't even know if they still make this anymore. If they do, I will have it linked below, but I've had this brush for probably 10 years, if not longer, and I've washed it several times and it's held up really great. We are going to start off by going in with the shade Eros, which is this really beautiful champagne-y shade. Something to note is when you are putting your brush in this product, you are getting kickback. Ooh, she is beautiful. So I definitely applied a lot. We could have gone more natural, but I wanted to show you what the highlighter looks like, once it's really built up. So you can actually see the shade differences between them. I'm moving my head a lot so you can see the reflection, but this is the shade Eros. I actually think that Morphe brush did a really good job of allowing me to build up the product, so I don't think I'm going to use a denser brush for this formula. I think this is the perfect type of brush. So a kind of loosely packed synthetic fiber brush works great with this formula. On this side of my face, we are going to go in with the shade Electra, and this is a really pretty, goldy champagne shade. So it's definitely going to be warmer than Eros, which is the one we just tried on. So you can see this is Eros and this is Electra. Something I really like about this formula is, or rather this product, is the size of the mirror. I don't want to blind you, but it is a very decent sized mirror. I also wanted to call out the packaging. While it's not like the most luxurious, I like that they went with the white as opposed to the normal NARS black, because I find that the soft touch black packaging gets so dirty and gross in your makeup bag. So I like this switch over. I think they definitely could have and should have done more with the packaging to step it up, but I don't have any major complaints considering these are $42, which, yes, that's pricey, but compared to some of the highlighters we're going to be seeing in a little bit, the price point is on the fairer side. I've coated my brush and we are going to go in. That's one coat. And this is where I would stop if I were just wearing this out and about, but I'm going to try to build it up more so you can hopefully notice the difference in the shades. Ooh, okay, I have applied a ton of product. Here we have the shade Electra. I'm going to be doing an up-close mirror inspection, but before I do, I did want to show you the two different shades. So on my right, we have Eros, and on my left, we have Electra. Looking in my viewfinder, I'm not seeing a huge difference, but let's do a mirror inspection. I did an up-close inspection with my new mirror from Flower Nose. Look how cute. I love anything that looks like a toddler would play with it. I've mentioned that before on my channel. Okay, so for the shades, I do definitely notice a difference when I'm looking in my mirror. The Eros one is a lot whiter, as you can tell, whereas Electra is going to be much more bronzy and glowy. The glow you get with these NARS highlighters is so freaking beautiful. And I also want to mention that I'm not seeing any like obvious glitter particles. Like, yes, it's shimmery, it's a highlighter, but you're not going to see chunky glitter. It does really melt into the skin while still definitely looking like a highlighter. Let's keep that in mind. It looks like a highlighter. I removed Eros from this side of my face and reapplied my complexion product. Now we're gonna go in with Heavenly, which is this really, really beautiful rose gold shade. Here we have the shade Heavenly. When I compare Heavenly to Electra, I can see a difference. Heavenly obviously is more of a rose gold, whereas this is more of a straight up gold champagne. I really, really love all three of these shades, but if I had to pick one, I actually would pick Heavenly because I think it's much more unique. I have a ton of gold champagne highlighters in my collection, but I don't have as many rose gold ones that actually work with my skin tone. A lot of rose gold highlighters are on the deeper side and I just can't pull off a shade like that, but this particular one, chef's kiss. Let's talk about the YSL highlighters. So YSL launched their powder highlighters. They retail for $55 and they come in 4 different shades. Let's first talk about this packaging. I am obsessed with the YSL makeup packaging they've been doing for the past couple of years, where it's like the kind of padded pleather packaging, and the highlighters, I love that they did an iridescent play on that. My one critique is that all the highlighters, the outer packaging is the same, which I find to be a disappointment, because one of the reasons why I love the outer packaging of the blushes is because each of the blush outer packaging matches what's inside. So I would have appreciated if maybe they did something similar, but nonetheless, I still think the packaging is beautiful and I appreciate that they didn't skimp out on it. Now, these claim to be 12-hour lasting highlighters that have hyaluronic acid and niacinamide. They are claimed to be non-comedogenic. And then the rest of the claims are the usual highlighter claims. The 2 shades I picked up are number 3, Rosy Sand, And number 69, Lavender Lust. The formula of this is also very smooth. It's not as like slippy, so to speak, as the NARS formula, but still no sort of grit to them whatsoever. So here is 03 Rosy Sands, and here is 69 Lavender Lust. You can really see the difference in these two shades. At the end of the video, I will be swatching all of these on my arm so you can compare them, but I did want to do some comparisons right off the bat. I swatched NARS Heavenly right next to Rosy Sands because they are both rose gold highlighters. Something that I did want to call out is that YSL in the Rosy Sand ones, you can actually see some actual like shimmer and glitter particles that are much more noticeable than in the NARS formula. Once I apply it to my face, we'll do an inspection to see if that actually bothers me, but I did want to call that out right off the bat. I should also mention I have tried all of these before and worn them over the past week, but kind of my experience blurred together a little bit, so we are retesting and reevaluating as we go. I have thoroughly coated my brush in Lavender Lust, and we are going to try applying it with the Morphe brush first. If I feel like this formula needs a denser brush, we will switch over to one of my Rephr brushes. She is definitely lavender. Here is the shade Lavender Lust. I think this formula performs perfectly fine and performs really well with the Morphe brush, so we're going to keep using that one. On this side of my face, we're going to go in with Rosy Sands. Here we have Rosy Sands. Moving my face around, so hopefully you can pick up on those reflex. The biggest difference between the YSL formula and the NARS one is what I mentioned earlier, the little like shimmer reflex. You can actually see very, 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 very tiny, tiny shimmer particles on the cheek that are more noticeable in the YSL formula than in the NARS formula. This does not bother me though, because it is a highlighter and it's not like you're just getting the shimmer without the colored base, so it works really well. But if you are someone who is absolutely opposed to any sort of like visible shimmer, I don't think you're gonna love the YSL ones. I still really love them, and I do think they look really beautiful. And typically like shimmer particles do bother me, and these ones don't. So hopefully that kind of helps you figure out what you'll think of it. But this is one that I would probably recommend going in store. I mean, I think these are at Nordstrom now and they're at Macy's. Maybe when they come to Sephora or head to a Nordstrom or Macy's, this is one where I would actually apply to see if those tiny shimmer particles are going to bother you. Let's talk about the Benefit Glow La La blurring highlighters. These retail for $38 and they come in 4 shades. The 2 shades I picked up are Aurora, which is a fair light pink, and then I also picked up Rhea, which is a fair light. This formula claims to be a weightless, lawn-wearing baked powder highlighter that gives a seamless glass-like glow to the skin. This formula is extremely, extremely soft. It almost has a little bit of like a putty feel that reminds me a lot of the ColourPop Super Shock highlighters, which are one of my favorite highlighters of all time, and especially one of my favorite drugstore highlighters. First up, let's swatch the shade Raya. And then here we have Aurora. Of all the highlighters, these are by far the most metallic of the bunch. There is absolutely zero visible shimmer particles in these. These are just straight up metallic. For this formula, I find that something like a Morphe brush doesn't do a great job of dispensing the product evenly because it is more of a like creamy texture. You're going to want to either use your finger, or if you have a little bit more of a like slightly denser brush, like this is the Rephr 18, you'll want to apply with that. So we'll start off by applying with this, and then maybe on the other side, I'll apply with my finger. So I'm just coating that brush up because I really want you to be able to see the pigment. Ooh, okay. On the other side, we will go less heavy on the pigment and apply it a little bit lighter, because if you're not careful, this one can be a lot. So here is the shade Raya. On this side of my face, we are going to apply Aurora, but let's go ahead and apply with the finger and just pat it on. Okay, I definitely prefer the finger method with this formula. You just have to really kind of tap it in and work it in to make sure it dispenses, or rather disperses evenly. I think it gives it a much more natural look and tones down some of the metallicness, if that's a word, so that you're not getting like a kind of stark stripe on your face. But yeah, when you tap it in, whew, you get such a beautiful lit from within glow. I'm not saying it's the most natural glow because it's definitely glowy, but it is a lit from within glow. So here is the shade Aurora. Something that's important for me to note about these Benefit highlighters is I found the wear time to be pretty poor on these. Granted, it was very hot yesterday in Austin, Texas. It was in the 90s, but on one side of my face, I wore the YSL, and then on the other side, I wore the Glow La La Benefit blush. And after, I want to say maybe it was 7 hours, the Benefit one had almost completely disappeared from my face, whereas the YSL one, it was fading for sure, but there was still a little bit of sheen. Granted, I do want to note that when I applied the highlighter yesterday, I did just go in with a brush. I went in with this brush. I didn't do any sort of like patting and tapping into the skin. So I do wonder if for this formula, because it is a little bit creamier, if had I actually tapped and patted it in, if it would have lasted longer. For the grand finale, we are going to be talking about the ridiculously expensive Prada highlighters. I picked up 2 shades. I picked up the shade Light. Oh, they're both called Prada Light. Okay, I'm sorry. I picked up the shade 01 and 02. Now let's talk about the Prada highlighters. So these are formulated with squalane. So these are going to be very, very smooth, and also even like softer and squishier almost than the Benefit ones. They're just different. They're a squishy formula, but they're way more like hydrating because of the squalane, so they don't have any sort of powdery kick up whatsoever. This is the shade 01. Here we go with 01. And this is the shade 02. So 02 is going to be more of a pink, kind of rose gold type of shade, whereas 01 is more of a champagne, like a warm champagne tone. I did want to mention that these do come in 3 shades, so of all the launches, this has the least number of shade options. For this formula, I have found that a denser brush applies the product best, so I'm going in with my Rephr 18 brush. We're going to go in on this side of the face with the shade 01. Oh wait, also quickly, I mean, the Prada packaging is just, it's insane. It's insane. I love the mixed metal. And these are also refillable. So if you wanted to purchase more than one shade and you didn't want to pay the ridiculous price tag, you can also just purchase the refills, and then you can pop them in and out. So there's no kick up whatsoever when you dip into this, like no powder anywhere. I've coated my brush and we are gonna go in so pretty. I hope you are enjoying my sound effects throughout this video. This is one of the most natural looking highlighters I have ever tried. Wow. I hope the beauty of this highlighter is picking up on camera because it's definitely picking up in my mirror. It is very, very natural looking and subtle, and it is lit from within while being natural for every day. This is by far the most natural looking. How many times can I say natural? This is by far the most natural looking highlighter of the bunch, and also one of the most natural looking highlighters I've ever tried. Here is Prada 01. Now we're going in with 02. Oh. Here is Prada 02. Okay, so this formula is so magical. I don't know how they managed to make a formula that is so glowy, but truly undetectable on the skin. Like when I inspect with my mirror, there's not one particle on the face. Like these completely melt in the skin in a way that is so natural and ethereal looking. I am truly blown away by these highlighters. Like, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and maybe let's swatch. I'm gonna swatch Aurora below the like pinky one over here from Prada so we can see the difference. I'm gonna apply it kind of just next to it here and tap it in. And I'm hoping it picks this up on camera, but this is a really helpful way for me to notice the difference between these two formulas, because while the Benefit one is really beautiful, I can definitely tell that there is highlighter on my face. I can see kind of where the metallic sheen is coming from. Again, it's very beautiful and it's very lit from within, but it's not as natural as the Prada ones. I am now going forth with the extremely difficult task of ranking all four of these. Right off the bat, I have to say that I do like all of these individually. So this is not like the easiest ranking to do, and I would recommend any of these highlighters that we talked about today. But alas, this is a ranking video and a highlighter face-off video, so we got to do the ranking. In fourth place, we have the new YSL highlighters. This was tough because I just love the packaging, and if I could rate these on packaging alone, these would be number one. The reason why these are number 4 for me is because they were the formula that looked the most visible on my skin because of those little tiny micro shimmers. I still think it's a beautiful formula, but I had to rank these somehow, and I do think the visible like shimmers in them knocked them down for me, so that they had to be 4th place, because when I'm comparing formulas alone, this one was the most visible on the skin. And when I'm shopping for a highlighter, I'm looking for something that is going to be glowy, but isn't going to be easily detected on the cheek. In 3rd place, we have the Benefit highlighters. I do really enjoy these, but that longevity issue that I ran into kind of knocked these down from like a 2nd place to a 3rd place for me. I do still think they're very beautiful. I mean, these are the most affordable ones in the bunch. I think $38 is a fair price point. The packaging does feel a little cheap. I feel like maybe without the mirror, they could have gone down to $34, but I do really like this formula. The reason why it is 3rd place and not 2nd place is, as I mentioned, it didn't last very long when I applied it with just a brush. I'm gonna keep playing with them. Maybe by doing the finger tapping, working into the skin, they will last longer, but that is the reason why these are 3rd place. In 2nd place, we have the NARS highlighters. I absolutely love these. Of the launches, I think these also have the best variety in tone. You have some really nice warm tones, you have some more neutral, and then you have some deeper shades as well. So that is definitely a plus for this formula. And then just in general, this formula is really, really smooth. It applies really beautifully. And I just love the way these look on the cheek. I hate to do this. I hate to give a $90 product the #1 slot, but the Prada highlighters are just really that good, you guys. I don't understand how they made such magic, but I've never used a highlighter that is this undetectable on the skin while also providing such glow. But this somehow manages to be actually completely undetectable while also being extremely, extremely glowing. I do wish they had more shades, and I do wish these weren't $90, but the $90 price point couldn't even prevent these from being my #1 spot. I think this is going to be one of the best highlighter launches of the year. I'm sure more will still be rolling out, and there will be more that I will be trying, but this is going to be the bar for highlighters going forward. Before you go away, I do want to go ahead and insert some arm swatches of all of these shades on my arm. I am going to kind of group them by similar shades so you can figure out which maybe rose gold one you want, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and roll that clip. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do decide to pick up any of these launches, I would love if you consider shopping through my affiliate links down below. It does help financially support this growing little channel. And if you are not already subscribed, would love if you subscribe and or follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know in the comments below which of these have you picked up, which are you interested in. Would love to hear about your experience with any of these highlighters, or maybe other new launches of highlighters that I somehow missed that you want me to include in another ranking video.